Hi, welcome to Elaine Enlightenings's video blog number 43. Today we're on lesson 33. And today's lesson is there is another way of looking at the world. And something I'm going to take and tie this in with something going on in my physical body to be able to show the connection there. And if you're not familiar with Louise Hay has a book where you can look up different ailments and you can see the correlation between that and emotional issues so that you can see the connection. This is why the body is a learning mechanism. And we're meant to be healed and whole. So if we're struggling, we want to look for the lesson that's within it. And I also have another book that I use a lot called Messages from the Body by Michael Lincoln, and it's very, very thorough. I mean, you can look up your finger, little pinky finger, and what you want to do when you read these kind of things, these messages, is that you just really want to tune into your intuition and see whether it resonates. You don't want to just take it as gospel. You want to find out whether it resonates with you and how it fits with you. And your intuition will, as you get honed, your intuition will guide you anyway as to what it means without even looking at books. But it's a good way to start. So I noticed the other day that I had this wart on my toe, my heel, plantar wart that I just noticed it was hurting a little bit, and I hadn't felt it in a long time and kind of forgot that I'd had it. So I did look up what Louise Hay said, and she says that it's an anger at the very basis of your understanding, spreading frustration about the future. And that resonated with me from the standpoint that what we're doing here and the work that I've done really for the last year, but as well as right here just in these video blogs, is we're going through the Course in Miracles, and it is shaking the foundation. And that's what I want, because I'm shifting my perception from the physical eyes with the physical body and believing that all of that is real. Instead, I'm shifting it all into the idea that we can have vision the way that God sees it. We're not getting rid of anything in front of us. We're just wanting to shift the way we view it. Okay, so that's what the purpose of these applications are. And there's an affirmation she has that you can say: I move forward with confidence and ease. I trust and flow with the process of life. And affirmations are wonderful, and I have nothing against them. I do want to say that what's nice about EFT and when you're tapping is that you can address all the negative emotions when you're in them with it. And because you're tapping on your body, you can actually release a lot of the negativity instead of it being that you're making it worse. A lot of people are concerned about addressing their shadow self because it feels like they're complaining, or it feels like that they're sliding backwards. But what we're doing is we're just acknowledging what we created in the ego, and we're wanting that to be transformed into light and truth. And that can't be done unless we're willing to look at it. What we want to do is not judge it. So when I talk about anger at the very basis and spreading frustration about the future, I mean, that's really what the ego does, is looks at the past and then creates more of that in the future out of fear and worry. And that's what we don't want. We want to realize that we can create a beautiful picture, and we can share that with others. Okay? So I'm just going to acknowledge this lesson and its application in regards to this, of all things, plantar warts. So the thing about this lesson is we're understanding the shift in perception by practicing with our eyes closed, thinking and applying it to our thoughts, as well as the outer world that we see. And it can be challenging. That's why in the lessons it recommends that if you feel a struggle with it, you can shorten the amount of time you do it. But at the same time, when you realize there's a struggle, it's simply the fear showing up, not wanting to look at the shadow self. And so with tapping, we can just acknowledge what our fear is. So that's what we're going to do in this short tapping round. And we want to realize that there isn't a difference between the outer and the inner. This is why we need a shift in perception, because we've not been taught to see it as one, but as two separate things. What we think on the inside is going to create on the outside. So that's why we want to shift it, so we can have a wonderful life that's inspired. Okay, so take a deep breath and just tap along if you haven't tapped with me before, and start on karate chop. So we take a deep breath to get grounded and tune into your own emotions and feelings. If you're not familiar with tapping, you can tap along. It may seem a little distracting at first, and that's okay once you learn the tapping sequence, and it's easier to not be distracted by it. Okay, just repeat after me. Even though there is another way to see the world, I still get stuck sometimes in my fears. The fear of moving forward. The fear that I might create more in the future of what I didn't like in the past. And now I know that by focusing on what I don't like about my past, I can create more in the future. I'm ready to be more powerful about this. Even though it's scary to look at the shadow self and to acknowledge publicly my fear of moving forward. The very foundation, everything I've ever believed in, has gotten shook. And it's kind of scary. And now my heel hurts. I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Top of the head. Even though I'm going on my trip, never been to Bali before, it's putting me in touch with some new fears, and that's okay. Gonna move forward anyway. But it is kind of scary. There is another way of looking at this wart. There is another way of looking at the future. There is another way of looking at the present. There is another way of looking at the past. I'm not acquainted with it. And what's new is scary. Even though my comfort zones may keep me stuck, they are much more comfortable than change. But I'm going to move forward anyway. I'm going to trust God, and I'm going to exercise a little willingness and faith that by letting go of the past and being willing to see that there is another way of looking at the world, this fear will go, and then the wart will go away too. Because pain and sickness are a defense against the truth. So I can move forward with confidence and ease. I can trust and flow with the process of life. I choose to trust the process. That God is in everything I see, because God is in my mind. So I ask for God and the angels to help me remember the truth about myself. There's nothing I need to do. But just let go and let God. I choose a new perception about moving forward with confidence and ease, starting right now. Okay. Take a deep breath, see how that feels. All right, well, that's it for today. For private coaching, go to taplightsunlimited.com/coaching. Videos are never a replacement for private coaching. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.